Hello, dear listener. Welcome to our story time, where the world slows down, the air smells of warm tea and wildflowers, and magical things quietly unfold in the gentlest ways. This story is for everyone, whether you're young, old, or somewhere in between. So snuggle into your coziest blanket, sip something warm, and let me tell you the tale of a boy who couldn't speak, but had the heart of a whisper. In a quiet village tucked between rolling green hills and sunflower meadows, there lived a boy named Emil. He had big brown eyes, soft curly hair, and a smile that made people feel safe. Emil had never spoken a word, not since he was born. His parents had taken him to doctors and healers, but no one could explain it. Still, Emil never seemed unhappy. He simply listened more than others did. He lived in a little cottage on the edge of the village, where ivy climbed the windows and songbirds sang lullabies from the trees. The garden was his favorite place, full of lavender, tomatoes, and bees who worked like tiny humming engines. Every morning, Emil walked barefoot through the grass, feeling the dew between his toes and listening. Always listening. And then, something changed. It happened on a morning wrapped in gold sunlight. Emil was watching a squirrel nibble on a hazelnut when the squirrel looked up, blinked twice, and said in a small voice, "You've been listening for a long time. Are you ready to talk back?" Emil's heart thumped. He opened his mouth and out came a sound. Not a squeak or a whisper, but a clear, gentle yes. The squirrel dropped its nut in surprise. "Well then," it said, tail flicking, "we've got a lot to talk about." And just like that, Emil's world opened. Birds in the garden chirped greetings. Cats blinked slowly and whispered secrets. Bees buzzed in rhythmic patterns, and somehow Emil understood every beat. The more he listened, the clearer their voices became. That night, Emil sat under the stars as a barn owl swooped down beside him. Her eyes were deep pools of night sky. "You are the one," she said softly. "The communicator. We've waited for you." Emil blinked. "Waited?" "Yes," the owl replied, her feathers glowing faintly in the moonlight. "The animals have a plan, a big one, and we need your help." As the stars shimmered above the sleeping village, Emil's heart whispered a new question. What plan? But for now, he just listened. The morning after his first conversation with the owl, Emil wandered into the nearby forest. The sunlight streamed through the trees in golden ribbons, and the leaves rustled with knowing voices. Creatures emerged: foxes, finches, turtles, deer all forming a gentle, whispering circle. A badger, whose fur was graying with age, stepped forward. "The humans have forgotten how to listen," he said, voice slow and rich like tree bark. "We've been planning, not war, no, something better. A return to balance. But we need a bridge, someone to help them here." Emil looked around. The animals nodded, some hopeful, some worried. "But I'm just a boy," he said, his voice still new and trembling. "Not just," said a gentle doe. "You've always heard us. You've always loved us. That's more than enough." The plan was simple but powerful. Create places where people and animals could speak again, not with words, but with presence, kindness, and quiet wonder. Forest sanctuaries, shared gardens, peaceful spaces where no one shouted and everything listened. For days, Emil wandered, learning. A frog taught him how to feel the rain story. A fox showed him how to wait, quietly, for trust. A hedgehog taught him how to curl inward when the world became too loud. One afternoon, while walking along the riverbank, Emil met a girl from his village, Clara, who always smiled at him but never knew what to say. This time, Emil spoke first. "Would you like to meet someone magical?" Clara blinked. "You can talk?" He nodded, smiling. "I talk to animals, and they talk back." To his surprise, she didn't laugh. Instead, she whispered, "Then take me with you." That evening, the animals welcomed Clara. She didn't speak much, but she listened, and when the owl returned, she tilted her head just the same way Emil did. The bridge had begun. Hello again, dear listener. You've come so far with use and Now it's time to bring our gentle tale to its heartwarming end. Let's return to Emil and the peaceful world blooming from his quiet voice. Seasons passed, but time moved slowly in the village, like honey dripping from a spoon. With Clara's help, Emil turned his garden into the first listening place. No fences, no rules, just trees, flowers, soft moss to sit on, and a warm silence that welcomed all. Villagers began to visit curious at first, then enchanted. Birds landed near them without fear. Rabbits sat close, blinking peacefully. And sometimes, when people closed their eyes and slowed their breath, they felt something, a wordless welcome. One day, the village elder who'd once believed Emil was broken sat beside a hedgehog and wept. "I never knew the world had so many voices," he said. Emil just smiled and handed him a sunflower seed. More gardens followed, tiny sacred places where the world felt softer. The animals didn't want control. They didn't want power. They just wanted to be heard. And now, they were. As for Emil, he still didn't speak often, but when he did, people listened, because his words came from deep places, quiet streams, blooming meadows, the hush of dawn, and in every word was the gentle voice of all who had waited to be heard. One evening, as the sky turned lavender and the stars blinked awake, the owl returned one last time. "You chose well," she said. "Not war, not silence, but understanding." Emil nodded. "I only followed the quiet. And maybe, dear listener, that's the secret. Sometimes, the quiet knows the way." Thank you for being here with us. If this story warmed your heart, feel free to like, subscribe, or simply come back for more. There will always be a cozy story waiting for you. Until next time, stay gentle.